Hello, everyone. It's Art Russell here at Think Twice on YouTube and thinktwice.me at wordpress.com. I hope this video finds everyone well and that you're eager to learn more about your essential nature beyond name and form. Today I'm going to share more information about non-duality, meaning not two, and how it relates to our apparent identity. Now, whether that information seems of use to you largely depends on whether you're willing to question some of your uninvestigated assumptions about identity, whether you're willing to question what, not who, you truly are. In a recent video I taped, I used this prop. And I said that if we truly desired, were earnestly eager to know what we truly are, we had to set aside this, the Book of You. The Book of You is all the stories that your mind has manufactured about your identity, your childhood, family relations, your workplace, your status in society. It's all stories of the mind. And what we're seeking is to know a much deeper dimension of self, capital S. Now, why is this important? Because the self that begins with uppercase S is beyond the suffering related to the perspective of the person. Now, what occurs most mornings? The perspective of the human awakens again, really, is a more accurate way of saying that. And that perspective assumes again, once again, picks up the story of the Book of You and continues with it. Joe Dispenza, noted teacher and author, also talks of this and says, how can you expect change in your life, in your apparent circumstances, if every morning you get up and you start the story of you again? I'm agreeing with them totally. We need to set that down to discover a much deeper dimension of self. The human perspective ultimately is unsatisfying. Buddha, the historical Buddha, which just means it's actually a term to refer to being awakened to your higher dimension of self, as opposed to identifying with the lower one, the body and the apparent mind. It's just to awaken. It's not that we have to become religious and put on a phony act. That's the furthest thing from the truth. Now, again, I mentioned that the reason that we desire to seek true self is to know a more constant level of happiness. Happiness not derived of circumstances. Circumstances, all of us know, are on a teeter-totter. We know it well. We don't have to live long to experience that. A child knows that. A child by the age of 2 to 5 to 10 definitely knows, uh-oh, mom and dad are unhappy today. I'm not having as good an experience. Or a friend, a pal has moved to a distant city and they're unhappy. So the perspective of the human takes that ride. This is saying, let's find that stable, the truth that's stable beyond fluctuating circumstances. Okay, so let's move into this more deeply with some passages from a book. I'll begin with a book called Wake Up and Roar by Papaji. Well, about Papaji. It's actually written by Eli Jackson Bear, and who was a disciple who learned from him. This is an incredible book. So we're going to begin with a short quote that I've highlighted. And it says, "Don't make any effort toward your own self." Okay, don't make any effort towards your own self. What does that mean? It means if we take the perspective of the person, that would be like we're going seeking, but we're taking all this history. We cannot take this history. We get to truth by dropping this. We get rid of it. It's a story of the mind. Don't make any efforts towards self. That doesn't mean just take potluck. It means we need to drop our assumptions and recognize, to know again what is in the background, so silent, so still. That's awareness, that's consciousness. That's what we really are, and it's not dependent. It's not being manufactured by this as much as science assumes. So much of our confusion, and that's what it is about identity, is due to the fact that we're willing to pick and choose from science. We think spirituality, by and large, a lot of the masses think spirituality is bunk and that science is real. And yet, when science tells us that atoms are 99.99% empty space, as discovered by Ernest Rutherford in 1911, we ignore it. We go, no, this is a real world here. It's made of matter, even though it's been proven over and over and over that atoms are nothing solid. What I'm stating is the environment that we're in appears solid, and it acts according to certain laws, spiritual laws, which then go down into physical laws. But that we need to trust that science. We also need to trust science when it says that light behaves as both a wave and a particle. Everything is made of those particles. This table that my laptop is on here is made of particles that have no lasting independence of their own. Everything is created by the mind. The true us, though, that which we truly are, is beyond, it's prior to the mind. That's why it's eternal. Let's go into another quote here. Page 262 of Wake Up and Roar. What does he mean by wake up and roar? It's basically a story about people believing themselves to be the sheep. The lion or lioness, he or she, knows what he or she truly is. Wake up and roar. Be that which you truly are. Here's the passage. When you recognize yourself as when a river discharges into the ocean and is no longer a river, that means when you've given up the assumption of the perspective of the person and go into the ocean of consciousness, that which you truly are, all qualities are gone. Ocean, consciousness, has no limits. When you are free, you are no longer a man or woman with past habits. You are not functioning because the doer is not there. Mind is not there. Mind generates repetitively a sense of I did that. Now, in my writing, I refer to that as a lowercase I. That's the lower self. Versus uppercase I or capital S, or self, true self, is beyond name and form. Now, we'll end this book with another quote, and it says, when suffering arises in your mind, simply question, who is suffering? Now, what that means is, question your assumptions about that perspective. How do we do that? Become still. Witness whether it's a thought trying to say, I'm suffering, that repetitive I. So about the nature of the world and that which we truly are. Excuse me. I'm going to show a passage or read a passage from Open Secret by Wei Wu Wei, who wrote several books about the truth of our nature. You know, it's a longer passage. Here it is. Here it is highlighted. I'm sharing this material with the hopes that it will help you wake up and roar. You're a lion. Know what you are. You're not a name. It's impossible to be a name. All forms are rendered by the mind. Our dream selves, autonomous in appearance as in life, can be seen in awakened retrospect. Awaken means to be enlightened, to wake up, to know that which you are. Can be seen in awakened retrospect to be puppets totally devoid of volitional possibilities of their own. Nor is the dream in any degree dependent on them except as elements therein. They who seem to think that they are living and acting autonomously are being dreamed in their totality. They are being activated as completely and absolutely as puppets are activated by the puppeteer. Such is our apparent life on this apparent earth, in this apparent universe. All of this which is dreamed is the product of the dreaming mind, of the subject-object process called causation, within the consciousness in which it occurs. It is integral in consciousness. It is consciousness itself, and there is nothing else whatever that is. So in case that quote leaves you feeling a little like, so Art, you're telling me that I'm a puppet being pulled around? In some ways, or it's going to appear that way, as long as you maintain the perspective of being the person, which you can never actually be. It appears that way. You are consciousness in which the dream of having a human perspective occurs. I'm going to leave you today with a well-known quote from Francis Assisi, Saint Francis of Assisi, excuse me. Now, in case terms like Saint Francis and you think we got to get all, yes, we want to pay him respect, but please don't let terms like guru or Shri or saint or sage turn you off discovering knowingly what you truly are. Here's the quote, it's well known. What we are looking for is what's looking. We are that. When we get rid of the illusion, when we drop our assumptions about being the person, we realize that we're true self, beyond name and form. If you've found something of value in this presentation today, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel or at least clicking a like. I offer more information through my book entitled This Taste of Flesh and Bones, which is available through Amazon. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.